I'm noticing it's very much like my high school. The front rows are all empty, everyone's in the back, hoping to get through the thing. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about our industry. Mike asked, just give you views of what's happening. And this isn't, like the others have said, this isn't a sharp ad. I really won't talk that much about sharp, but really what we're seeing in the industry, all of us are seeing, and make suggestions of what we could be doing to improve our businesses, to leverage what we have, and grow our businesses. And I think this is how we all imagine our job today, right? You lay in a hammock, just relax all day. There's actually a photo of me. I'm in better shape now, but this is a photo of me thinking about quantum computing. And this is the end game. This is what we want, right? We want our businesses running smoothly. We want to be relaxing in our hammock and letting it all just happen. And I think we all agree the last couple of years has been nothing like that. And it's probably been the most challenging years in our industry that anyone's ever seen, probably any industry really. But obviously selling office equipment, having a pandemic, still struggling 5 years later to get people back to the office, that makes it very challenging for us to grow our business and develop our business. The other part is we're all struggling right now with tough decisions. And I know, this is like the third rail, right? No OEMs supposed to talk about this publicly, but we're all talking about it, right? I haven't stopped talking about it since I got here. Everyone asked me the question, is there going to be consolidation of the OEMs? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? I think there's two consistent messages, I should say, that you get from every OEM on consolidation. One, it's going to happen. Two, it's not going to happen to us. Okay? So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of who, why, what, okay? But really, it is important for the dealer to go down that rabbit hole. I'll be honest, it really is. You do have to plan out your business. You have to think about what your business looks like 3, 5, 10 years down the road and what you see in those businesses. The other thing you have to think about is what product categories you're going to be in, okay? How are you going to grow your business? How are you going to get new revenue? I think Sam pointed out yesterday, it's not about necessarily even growing your business by being diversified. It's about replacing what you lost. And so it's imperative for you to take on new products and new categories. Now, for Sharp, obviously, we make some of the categories, so we're biased to a certain direction. But there's other categories out there, right? We partner with ConnectWise on managed services. They can do it better than us. That's what our branches use, and we use that as the glue to try to grab other business. Many of you are in the water business. Again, you're in the customer anyway. Water is a commodity, but yet the service and delivery and making sure the subscription's there, right? Locking down that customer, it's another way to be in that customer and grab revenue. Some of you are in the phone business, UCaaS, right? I hope the intermediate doesn't mind. I used your image so that you felt good about me presenting, but getting into UCaaS and the communications, I think, Rudy said it a second ago when he explained what his company does. It's about managing information, helping companies have information, controlling information, and sharing information in a secure way. Well, whether it be visual, whether it be audio, whether it be managing a network, those are all things that you actually have a nice advantage of going into the customer and securing it. And then the third topic is the one I'm completely ill-equipped for, AI. We've talked so much about it over the last 2 days, but I think we all can agree the gamut is gigantic, right, of what AI can be. But an earlier presentation today really hit it on the head. I loved it was about playing, right? I forget who exactly said it, but it was about playing, and I would encourage every dealer, put aside an hour of a day for you personally to play with AI, whether it be chat, whether it be watching YouTube videos, whether it be watching TED Talks. Really begin to understand where do you fit. Because honestly, I think the future clearly is going to be AI driven. But where do we play? How do we play in that market? Is it that we sell AI tools? Is it that we manage AI tools? Or is it that we make our businesses more efficient with AI tools? But I guarantee you, you will be using AI in some way, shape, or form. So start playing with it. So these are all the challenges that we face right now. And the reason is our business is challenged. but I do believe there's been a little bit of complacency the last couple of years. So this is kind of the market. You all know this horrible, horrible slide. This is the industry. We don't have the final numbers for 2024. And of course, every industry forecast has a cliff, right? They're all off. I never look at those forecasts. They're always wrong. But what we do see is this. After the pandemic hit, we then had a little lull, and then we went into the supply chain crisis. And then we kind of recovered, and we're still getting people back to work. But what happened was that red line, the business rebounded, year-over-year growth numbers. And I'd watch, numbers come out, and all the OEMs, Sharp included, and be like, hey, we're up 30% year-over-year. I'm like, we were down 50% last year. 30% up is really nothing, right? But we became complacent because a little bit of our business came back to normal. And we lost sight of the fact that we needed to urgently diversify our categories. But this is the reality of what we saw. It was the nuts and bolts of our industry, 4 and 5 year leases. What really happened was through the last 2 years, we were closing out those 4 and 5 year leases that came up for renewal in this period. And guess what we saw in the second half of this year? There are less and less 5 year leases to renew. You are now going back out and calling on customers that are having a lower number out there, that having that lower threshold of how many units they have in the field. So from that number, it's not going to dramatically improve, right? And I'm going to spend a little time on this slide because this is really the essence of what's happening in our industry. That number is not going to dramatically go up. It may stay flat, it may decline a little bit, but that's really the challenge that we all have. How do we replace our revenue? It's also, candidly, the challenge that every OEM is facing. Believe it or not, I know you'd be stunned to hear this, but we make most of our money on the manufacturing side and the supply side, right? That chart is impacting every decision of every OEM. It's impacting all the rumors you're hearing. It's impacting every aspect of that business. And so when we look at it, tough decisions are being made. Where to stay, where to go, where to invest our monies. And this chart really drives that. That number is down. The market mix, the shifting that occurred a couple of years ago is the new baseline. So what was pre-pandemic is not completely gone. All those leases are gone, all those customers have now moved to wherever they are today, but it's not where you have old business when things were great, and now you gotta go out and convince the customer to buy more. So that's the pessimism, right? But what you miss is the customers are still there. And we have an advantage. We've always called on those customers. We have the longest history with our customers than any of their vendors. Maybe their insurance broker, probably could be further. But around our customers are all kinds of growth areas. And again, I don't take all these slides, I just grabbed these to be perfectly honest. These aren't meant to demonstrate an exact growth number. But growth is all around us. Notebook computing, okay? There was a huge spike 5 years ago as everyone went home during COVID and workers either went remote and kids went remote. Well, now the technology's all changing. Believe it or not, everyone's coming out with AI computers, right? We have computers now that take care of AI functions, in our Dynavoke division. But that market opportunity is a growth opportunity. And there's not one person who's ever sent a print job to one of your MFPs, one of your printers, that didn't have a computer. Huge opportunity. We have the ability of managed services. We talked about that. Continues to grow, regardless of what fashion you get into that business. We have professional AV. Now, this isn't just the sharp display guy talking to. Two of our competitors do a great job in AV, right? I've complimented a number of times on interviews. Toshiba has a great digital signage business. They're very good at it, right? They're leveraging other skills that, I don't know how they got there. I'll get Larry drunk later and find out. But they do a great job. We run into them in the marketplace, right? They do a great job. They're diversifying their business. I saw an interview the other day. I knew this because we have the AV business, but I saw an interview with Jim Curry talking about their acquisitions. Most people don't realize it, but Ricoh's biggest 4 recent acquisitions, right, in the reseller world are resellers globally in the AV space. They did Latin America, South America, US, which was the company Cisneros, I think, and then in Europe. So they're going down that path. They see the logical nexus of print or video, okay, display technology or conferencing. They see that natural nexus. The sharing of information, all that is a viable business, and we're encouraging many of our dealers to go after that business. And then finally is UCaaS, right? We don't, Sharp doesn't make that product, but we actually resell it in our branches. A lot of the dealers do. When you talk about communication, sharing information, UCaaS is a critical part. So the reason I talk about those other industries is that we're really holding the golden key. The copier is our entree in. And we so often just kind of joke, oh, we're copier people. But the copier is the only product in all of your customers that you as a supplier are in there on a consistent basis. You're consistently communicating with them, and you're integrated with a lot of their other functionality in the company. I won't say we're mission critical, but we are well known within that company. We're very important to that company. And so allowing a company like yourselves to go in and say, we've noticed this, everyone's been talking about data, right? We do connectors, you do site service, I talked about this in the previous meeting. You know everything about the system. You know everything about what that company's trying to accomplish. Use it, resell other products. So when you think about doing a site survey, and this slide is, this is probably the 5th year I put up this slide. This to me is the whole point of our business. But when you go in and do a site survey, either do an MPS assessment or go in and talk about where we're going to place the units on a sale, this is critical. This is where you go in and understand all the other technologies in that customer. And where can you go in and provide value? If you walk by and see an old notebook computer, try to sell them computers. Then you tack on, computers, yeah, not huge margins, I'll grant that. But then you tack on the Microsoft software. Then you tack on managed services, saying you protect the network. At Sharp, we integrated not only with ConnectWise for the managing the network in our laptops, but also in our print stream with a SIM tool that allows us to manage what's communicating on the print stream to prevent their security. So there's all kinds of things you can piece together. And your customers are looking for solutions. So many times we talk about these very things that happen 3, 5, 10 years out. There's so much right now that we can be doing with our customers that we're not taking advantage of. And I think we get kind of confused with so much of the complexity that could exist. But really a lot of the technology I'm talking about is very basic. Pretty much everybody you have on your team today, everyone has a TV. When we talk video conferencing and basic video conferencing for a boardroom or digital signage, most of your network engineers, your service people, everyone can hang a display, can connect it to the network, and can activate the software. You can do that. I think when you get into more advanced digital signage and some other things, and content management systems, yeah, it's a little different industry. But these are, I don't call them adjacent industry, but they're part of what we're connected to today, and we need to really drive it. So in the spirit of openness, I am going to share some of the things we're doing at our branches, right? I'm going to be very, very specific, and I do want to share this. So first is our journey, right? We've really been trying to grow the number of customers, since pre-COVID to now, that have all our other categories. We call them pillars. So we've moved from a little over 11% to 13% of all our customers have multiple categories with us, okay? But we're adding more and more customers. You can see the blue is the total number of customers. Obviously, we're growing our total customer number, so it takes a year or two after we grow our customer to go back in and sell other technology. But use that QBR to go into the customer and say, we noticed this, or I have this service, I have that service. What can we do with you? But I gotta get my left and right up here. The one on the right is really the value. So I heard a lot of conversations of, can we make money in managed services, or can we make money in this category, that category? Well, we measure the profitability of our branches based on the, kind of the 50-50 mean, right? So this isn't even the extreme of the best and the worst. But the top half of our branches, that sell additional products to their customers is averaging almost a 2-point improvement in GP, okay? 1.3, yes, in GP. They had about a 0.2 before. So meaning, since they started really focusing on that, their overall business gross profit has improved. Why? Because they're not going in and the bulk of our business is still copier. When they have the other technologies and they go in for renewal, they don't have to give it away. They're an integrated part of that company. They're no longer the copier guy here ready to sign a new lease. They're selling other values. We've integrated other software. We've become indispensable to that company. And I think when I go back to that original slide, there's a natural outcome that happens when the market is flat with the OEMs. We get in the habit of saying we need to move all the inventory building up in our warehouse over to your warehouse. And then we call you up somewhere between the 24th and the 30th of the month, and we say, here's 20% off, please buy the product, right? And we see a lot of that. You're running your business, take the 20%. Don't be foolish. But don't take it to the street. When you're trying to prove yourself as a value-added provider, you don't always want to be the lowest cost provider. Now, I'm not saying lose customers, but as you drive the price down, you're taking away the other tool you have, which is I add value, I add support, I have other attributes that you find interesting. Take that money and look at reinvesting it in other areas. Put that money like you did when you started your company or in the early days of your company, and you built up your business. And I talked to so many of you in the early days, right? Common comment is, I didn't draw a salary in the early days. I didn't do this, I didn't take that or make much money. You're actually making money now in your copier business. When you get those discounts, you get that additional money, invest it. Put it into new areas. Buy new tools, buy new demo units, buy whatever it might be to drive additional business. Because the result ultimately is you grow your revenue in total, you lock down your customer, and you're gonna make more GP by becoming more important to the customer. Now we see it exactly the same way at our dealer community. And I know I shared this, I think 2 years ago, it just keeps happening. It's undeniable. So, diversified dealers, this is just limited Sharp work, okay? This is limited between Sharp selling them copiers, laptops, or our displays, okay? So, this isn't the full gamut, but it just shows you the power of it. Since pre-COVID, the dealers who have not, and obviously I gotta hide my numbers, you do appreciate that, I'm sure, but the non-diversified dealers have actually gone down with us, okay? They've gone down 19%. But the ones who have been diversified with us, which are the bulk, we've been preaching this for years, have gone up 12% just on their purchases from Sharp since that period. They're growing. There is a tremendous opportunity out there, and we need to drive it. So I'm preaching to the choir a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about where you make your money. So I'm going to share 2 examples, and I'm going to ask 2 of our dealers that are here to talk a little bit about their experiences. So first, obviously I'm hiding the names. This is a branch deal, I'm clear with our branch presidents, but a construction company, existing MFP company, right? And we actually had the copier business, okay? We had the copier business in there. But we went in and we also sold them AV. So what we noticed on the copier side was that while we're servicing copiers, we noticed a problem they had, which was tracking of trucks, okay? Their fleet. And so we went in and built them a command and control center to track down their fleet. Total sale was $530,000 on the AV side. I broke down, I shared, the hardware, 28 GP, that's not what you're used to on copiers. The install labor, we outsourced that, we marked it up, got 16 points, purely variable expense. But the services, the expertise we offered on what to do, that was 74% GP. Hard to measure the expertise, right? So we had the expertise, and then we hired third-party people to do the work. And then we have recurring revenue on a service contract on the deal. So one of the things our industry has gotten really complacent on is charging for our knowledge, right? We talk about that on print assessments and, do we give it away, do we not give it away? But our knowledge is really the value that often we provide. And certainly in the IT space, it's very, very common to charge for your knowledge. So you have the ability to upsell not only the hardware and the technology and lock the customer down, but you also have the ability to make more money. And as you do it a couple times, then suddenly you're an expert. Then suddenly you can then sell that expertise in design work and build work. And I think that's an opportunity that so many dealers miss out on. But we take an existing customer and go back in and add in AV, and now we have a customer that we're fully integrated with, and we made an extra $500,000, very profitably. That's really the goal we're trying to drive through. Another one's a school district, and I want to pick things that kind of resonate with everybody here, because everybody sells to schools. So we sold them $1.5 million in Pro AV, 1.6 million in total recurring revenue, and only $400,000 on a one-time sale. So this was a project where we didn't have the business before. We went back in and we put in all kinds of AV throughout the organization, but we looked at recurring revenue, $27,000 a month in recurring revenue, on monitoring and watching our AV equipment to make sure it works. The hardware was only 17 points profit. So everyone goes, oh, I don't want to do that business. It's only 17-point profit. It's true, it's a very competitive market. But project labor was 61 points. Again, only $50,000. But you're building up, you're locking down that customer. Now they have an MFP refresh coming up. I can absolutely guarantee you that we will get that MFP business. We manage all of the information that they're sharing in the district today on that AV equipment. We know everything that's happening there. We're in that building often with that monthly recurring revenue, and we're going to keep the copier business, and it's not going to come down to price. And most likely, we're going to help them avoid putting it to bid. So that's really where the value starts coming into these businesses. So I want to grab the mic. There's the mic.
There's some behind you.
I'll just grab one behind me then. Okay. So the other night, I'm talking, now I got to find people in the crowd because the light is in my face. Joe Reed, so Joe's over here, we walk over. So the night we're talking, can't get this mic on. Yep, there we go. So the other night we were talking, so Joe's got to stand on a chair. This is about to go south, I'm not going to go there. So, who's on the second? Okay, so we're talking about, I just want Joe, just repeat the conversation we had. We sit in dinner and he was talking about an opportunity we missed, but then potentially not.
Yeah, so the conversation started with, I was at Print United, and at the end of their show, we went down to see the new Sharp production machine, which we bought 2 of them. And Sharp was packing up, and they had a 108-inch direct view LED, and Sharp was limiting, we gotta pack this thing up and ship it back. And so I walked up to them and I said, I could send a truck down here for the right price and buy it from you. So long story short, we bought the 108. So we were talking in the bar the other night, and I told Mike a very cool story about what happened. So we are the incumbent in a large school district. We have a new sales rep been with us for about 8 months. He was out there when we were doing a refresh. He comes from the software side of the business, so he wanted to go out with our connectivity people in this refresh, help install paper cut, make sure the machines are connected. And in that process, he had a conversation with the school district's IT department. And in that conversation, he said, what are you guys doing for IT in the school? And they said, well, we're in the process right now of putting out an RFP for 1,740 laptops. Of course, young guy says, well, we're in that business. That's all I had to say. That led to them wanting to come into Smile and see them, because every one of our employees used Dynabooks with Sharp monitors. Every one of them had monitors at home, and they connected Dynabook via a docking station. So that's kind of our hybrid remote workstation. So they come in to look at the Dynabooks, and they said, hey, You know, we're building an education center, training center, and we're interested in, you know, Sharp's IWBs, right? So we moved into the primary showroom, and in that showroom, not only do we have 86-inch IWBs, there was the new 108-inch direct view LED. And almost within seconds, the IT guy goes, "What's that?" Long story short, they bought 2 IWBs and 2 108s, all right? We got the bid for the Dynabooks. So the point was, I told Mike, you know, we made the investment to bring the technology to Smile. I believe we need to use it, our employees need to use it so they have the confidence to present it. And so a simple assist on an install in an existing account leads to Dynabooks, IWBs, and direct view LEDs. And I mean, we just had this conversation. I can't tell you the GP, but I can tell you we put 30 points on those direct view LEDs. We have a scope of work and a project to install them. They're simple to install, high margin, and of course you get a recurring support agreement. So, but it was funny because we made that investment and we showed it to our employees and it paid off. I mean, the other investment I was talking to Mike about the other day, so we made an investment in production this year. It's about a $500,000 investment to have both those machines in the showroom with the big displays and all that. And we already have a working list now of 5 production machines within 30 days. So the diversification does work. And I guess the key that Mike said is, you know, our biggest asset as a customer or as a company is our customer base, right? We could double our business just by selling every client a second offering.
Thanks, Joe. So, that's a great example, and pull my legs back on, of, you know, leveraging the technology and selling other things. Occasionally, the OEM that's been in the display business for 30 years has a giant opportunity staring them in the face, and this is it. And then we get a dealer who picks up on something that we missed up. So I'm gonna invite Chip Selly now. Chip, I'm gonna give him the preamble, and so Chip, and to be fully agnostic here, Chip started this business without Sharp and not Sharp branded stuff. I am trying to get it from him, but I do want to be fair. But Chip started going into the DVLED because he saw an opportunity in schools that candidly we missed, and so I'm going to turn it over to Chip and talk a little bit about what you're seeing with your customers, or your customers in schools.
Well, in the school areas, the first thing that we found that their scoreboards are probably back when I was in high school. And so we found a software to put on the scoreboard so we could replace them with the LED boards, and a software that keeps the score, also will run the, you know, the best basketball player on the team, and signage. And when you start doing that stuff, you find other things that you can elaborate on, like sound systems. Sharp comes out with a soundboard, and he showed it to somebody, and we sold a whole mess of them. We found diversification has been great for us. The thing that I was worried about with going to LED walls, interactive boards, is where's the reoccurring revenue that we all make money on? And so everything that my team sells, they have to sell support. Because you have computers on it, you have people that need to learn how to use it again, new people come in. So our support arm has grown as well in that area. So I know we've been in IT for a while, but the way my AV is going, it probably will surpass my IT at the rate it's going. We're in the middle right now. I think we have over $3 million worth of projects that we're waiting to close in the next couple of months. So that's how fast things can grow. And your current staff can support it, they can install it, and they can sell it. It's just that simple.
Good. The reason I want to highlight those 2 examples is they're really not complex. I mean, they're difficult, but really, they went to existing customers. And so one of the things we always talk about, I used to be able to run and jump up on there. That's not going to happen anymore. It could happen once, and then you'd see me rolling there. But the real point of that was those are existing customers. So we all talk and, look, we all want net new, and there's no question about that. But let's face it, even if you're growing net new by 20 or 30%, that means there's 70% of your customer base that you could be selling something else to. And that's where the opportunities lie. You know, we just started, Chip brought the opportunity of scoreboards and mentioned it, and you know, he made a huge investment in a giant LED wall in the back of the showroom. So you really, if you go to any demo there, you're not missing that. But we have another dealer out in Pennsylvania that I think is already closed, and John just now, if I'm correct, played 4 schools already in the last 90 days, and 2 more in the next 60 days. So these are like $80,000 to $100,000 type deals in existing customers. You're not going to lose that business afterwards. You're going to maintain the copier business. So, you know, what my goal hopefully is that everybody can resume to a stress-free life, lay in your hammocks, but we're probably 2 or 3 years out from that. There's going to be a lot of chaos, there's going to be a lot of pain, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in the industry the next couple of years. But the important thing is, as a dealer, you have access to all of the tools, but you already have the most important thing, and that's your customer relationship. And it really is incumbent upon all of you to really drive that relationship and get other revenue out of it. So thank you very much.